Guest is the leader of the ALP in Queensland, Annastacia Palaszczuk. This is 6:12 ABC Brisbane. It's 20 minutes to 9. You're hardly going to win an election on the issue of restoring integrity and accountability. People often look at what does a potential government do or how will they affect me? So let me go through some key issues. Can you promise that you will lower the costs of electricity in Queensland if you're elected?
I'm not going to make that promise, Steve, because let's look at, once again, the government.
Well, no, I need to go through a list because if you can't, you can't make a promise because the government did freeze the Tariff 11 charge for 12 months.
But they promised to lower. They made that promise and they have broken that promise. I am not going to lie to Queenslanders. But I'll say one thing. If they sell our electricity assets, power prices will skyrocket and families will have to pay more.
Will you commit to returning a solar power rebate so that many people who put solar units on their roofs under the government you were a part of, when asked them to do it, will you return a solar power rebate?
Well, I'm not going to make that commitment now because we'll be looking at all those issues in the lead up to the election. But this government promised that they would not. And we have had Tim Nichols out there.
Well, they would not what? They promised they would not do what?
That they wouldn't reverse it. And that's what they did.
Can you promise that public transport costs will be lower under a government led by you?
I'm not going to make all these promises today. I am going to sit down. But
these are the issues that affect people today. Those economic issues.
And so is integrity and accountability in government. And I'll be coming to those issues in a methodic way over the next 9 months. Are we doing some work on transport? Absolutely.
But you can't promise that public
transport
transport costs will be lower.
I'm not going to make these promises today. That would be irresponsible.
Can you promise that you will lower the costs of delivering water to households in Queensland?
I'm not going to make those promises, Steve.
Can you promise that you'll lower the costs of car registration in Queensland?
Steve, we can go on about these hypotheticals. Over the next 9 months, I will be releasing detailed policies. Detailed policies for the people of Queensland, and I'm not going to make policy on the run today in your studio.
The state election has to be by March of next year.
9 months.
So 9 months out, you've only got 3 policies out there.
No, there's about 25 if you look on the website. There's about 25.
There's more up there now, is there?
Absolutely.
What else is there?
Absolutely.
What else is there?
There's building Queensland, jobs for Queensland. There's our alcohol-fueled violence policy. There is the vaccination for young children going into childcare. We've got a discussion paper out there about advanced Queensland, making sure that we have jobs in our industries into the future. I'm passionate about jobs. We are working very hard. We have focused on rebuilding the party. We have been focusing on listening to Queenslanders. And now we are going into a high-end policy detailed discussion. But let me say this to you, Steve. Before the last election, we are much more advanced than the LNP was, and they had 15 years in opposition. So we are very clear. We have a process in place, and I'm not going to rush policies.
So 9 months out, you've got 25 policies on the website.
As a start, absolutely.
But none of those can include lowering the cost of living in any category for the people of Queensland.
I'm not going to lie to Queenslanders like the LNP did. They said that they were going to lower the cost of living, and they have failed.
My guest is the Leader of the Opposition, Annastacia Palaszczuk. Then tell me about jobs, because job security is clearly one in my mind that my listeners are worried about.
And there's been...
What can you do to guarantee job security or job growth or lowering the unemployment rate in Queensland?
Yeah, well, I think this is an issue that is going to be the next focus of the Labor team. We are out there talking to people, and I'm going to be having some discussions with the different councils as I travel across the state and looking for opportunities into the future. And we had this discussion previously that it was the Labor government that put in place the LNG growth industry in this state. And that is what the LNP government is resting their hat on, the growth in that LNG industry. So the challenge is, what is going to be the next growth industry in Queensland? That's why we've released our Advanced Queensland plan, because we know that science and innovation is going to lead to more jobs and growth in Queensland. We had Peter.
So what's that? Jobs for scientists?
Not just jobs for scientists, but it's if you go back to the Peter Beattie smart state,
So
right?
exactly where...
It's ended. It's all ended.
Okay, but exactly where can you guarantee job growth?
No,
or
I'm not
job
going to
security in
guarantee
Queensland?
job growth. This is about we need to look for the next growth industry in this state. And that's why I've released this discussion paper. I'm asking Queenslanders for their input. I'm listening to Queenslanders, unlike this government, and then we will formulate policies around that.
So the jobs issue or job security is the next discussion for the Labor Party, but you
Growth
can't...
in jobs. Growth in jobs.
But you can't...
As
you
I
won't
travel,
guarantee sort of job
as
security...
I travel
Can you guarantee job security in the public service?
to the existing public servants,
Yes.
yes, I would like to do that.
Can you do that?
I will be looking at that very closely.
I appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Leader of the